Welcome back. In this video, we're going to create a variable that's going to track the highest score achieved by any player in the history of the game. And we're going to start that by creating a new variable, and we're going to call it high score. Pretty easy, right? So it is now on the screen, and this is one that we will not be resetting to 0 at the start of the game or to any starting value like we do with speed and score and lives, because we want this to carry on from one game to another and throughout the existence of the game. But we're going to actually do a little bit of math in order to figure out what the high score is. So we have this value called score that is a value at the end of every game, and we have this new value called high score, and we have to compare the two. At the end of the game, when the player loses all 3 lives, is the new score higher than the current high score, which right now is 0. So at the start, it's going to be very easy. But as the game goes on, we have to make sure we compare, and so we're going to use a conditional, and we're going to compare the two values, and we're going to say if the score is higher than the high score, then what we do is we tell the high score to actually take on the value of the score. So if this is higher than this, then make this the same as this until there's a new high score. So I'm going to do this. And when do we want this to happen? Well, we want this to happen only at the end of the game. And if you remember, in the code for the ball, we have the bit of code right here that ends the game. It switches to backdrop game over, and it stops everything. And I put the code for ending the game and comparing on the stage because we're going to make some changes to the code for the ball right here. We're going to delete this block, and what we're going to do is we're going to change this to stopping this script, which is the one that keeps the ball bouncing. So we're going to stop this, and we're going to broadcast a message, and we're going to broadcast a whole new message that is going to be game over. New message, game over. And what we're going to do is when this bit of code receives the message, game over, that's when this happens. So the reason we had to change the code for the ball is if we stop everything, then even if we send this broadcast, nothing's going to happen because it's going to just stop everything in the game. So if I go over here and I say, all right, when I receive this, do all this, and then stop everything, then that makes more sense. But first we have to set the high score. Now the other thing we want to do is we don't want the high score on the screen the entire time. You might want to, but what I want to do is hide it. So I'm going to use the blocks from the variables that hide and show a variable on the screen. And what I'm going to do is I want this to show at the end. And I want it to be hidden while the game is in progress. Make sure you select the right variable here in these blocks. All right, let's see how it works. So when I click it, it hides. Now, this time it's going to be very easy because right now the value is 0 for the high score because I just created it. But as soon as I play the game and I score any points, even if I only score just this 1 point, I'm going to score 2, and then I'm going to lose on purpose the rest of the game, and my high score should show up on the screen at the end of the game and say that the record is 2. One more ball. There you go. Now we have a record-keeping mechanism, and we can actually create a second and a third high score variable if we want to. So we will do that in the next couple of videos. See you then.